All right, hi, happy Monday, happy last Team Zoom, Dream Team Zoom for the month of July. So I last night on the power plan at the very end just started talking about how I'm so proud and excited to see all the people who have worked so hard to earn their spot on this upcoming retreat, and that I was like kind of surprised at like how fierce the competition is in a good way. But I also have this fear that August 1st, people are going to fizzle out. Like either fizzle out because there's not a retreat to go after, or maybe fizzle out because they didn't make it onto the retreat. That kind of thing. So we started talking last night about having like a meeting in the mirror to go over what did and didn't work for you in the month of July, so that you don't carry that shit over into August, or so that you can expand on it in August if it was working for you. And so I have put together, slash stole from the internet in different places, some questions that you can ask yourself in the mirror. And I know I threw out some examples last night, but that was just me being spicy. These are like legitimate ones psychologically that should be helpful for you. So first one. So let me backtrack here for a second. I want you to picture that it is July 31st. It's 11:59 p.m. You're literally 1 minute away from your volume resetting to zero, PPA resetting to zero, right? For the month, all this stuff, we're starting fresh. All right. And you've not made one of your goals. Maybe you didn't make your volume. Maybe you didn't get as many customers as you wanted. Maybe you didn't earn the retreat. Maybe you didn't earn, I know we're also like in the qualifications for Cancun. So I want you to get in that mindset. Or if you do have something recently in your business where you tried something and you failed, go ahead and get your brain there. Like that's where we're going to start from. Okay. So what can I learn from this? I don't know about you, but that is not the first thing that typically goes through my mind when I don't reach a goal. My brain is not nice to me. I have very mean things to say typically to myself. So instead, we're going to say, what can I learn from this? If you wallow in self-pity or ruminate about what went wrong, you aren't taking a proactive stance in life. And that is a very powerful statement, and it's very true. We all know people who bitch and moan 24/7 about something, and they never try to fix it, right? And that may be hurtful to say, because maybe you're like, oh, that is me in my business. I'm always complaining that I didn't hit 12K, or I'm always complaining that I didn't get a new customer. Well, think about the girl who's always complaining about something and never does anything to try to fix it. Your first step to fix it is like, what can I learn from this? Sheila said that trying to run my business a little different, than everyone else is now working. I do not know why I can't read a sentence. Sheila is saying that she's running her business differently than everyone else, but that is working for her. So that's good. But I want you to focus on maybe something that didn't work, because I want you to learn from something that didn't work. So perhaps you're talking about months ago when you weren't working your business differently. And what did you learn from that? Okay, so this is the ultimate accountability question, right? It claims that within you are the learning tools needed to correct your mistakes and try again to do something differently. And I think that is so important, because a lot of people are like, well, I didn't hit 12K. I've never hit 12K. I don't know how to hit 12K. And that just basically, that's a cop out. Like, I don't know how to do it. I can't do it. Whereas instead you can say, well, I didn't hit it. What can I learn from this? Because I know I can figure this out. I know if I want this bad enough, I can find out what's not working right and what I can do differently. So this is actually, I stole this off the internet. These are 4 questions or prompts that kind of fall under that. What can I learn from this? Number 1, what was I thinking? And what were my beliefs at the time? So let's say you had proclaimed, I'm earning 12K in the month of July, and you're ending the month of July at $3,000. I want you to think back. What have you been thinking this month? Like, what has your belief been? When you stated I'm going to be 12K, did you just throw that out there because it said to send your upline a goal? Did you throw that out there because you're like, if I say it, maybe it'll happen? Or did you throw it out there because you really, truly, honestly want to get to 12K, right? What are your beliefs? Do you think, I know I said it, but I probably can't hit it, but I want them to know I am in business and I want to work. But if I say I'm going to be 2K, that's not jazzy enough, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that goes on in our minds that really control more than I think what we realize. What did I say or not that affected my outcome? You know, did you get a no on July 3rd and you said, oh, I'm never going to hit 12K, right? Or did you get to 2000 on say the second of the month and you're like, oh, I'm going to do it. It's not even going to be hard. And then maybe you took your foot off the gas, right? There's a lot of things. So what did you say either out loud or to yourself that affected your outcome? What was my role in all of it and how could I have done better? July is one of those months where it's like, July, yes, 31 days. And then by the time you put in your weekend here, your week there, we're going here on this day, like it's a fun month, right? There's places to go, things to do, kids are out of school, all that good stuff. What was your role in that? Did you stick to your goal even with maybe fun things in life or even with not so many? I mean, we're all adults. It's not always unicorn and rainbows, right? Maybe some bad things happen. Did you stick to your goals though? And how could you have done better? Like, how could you have done better? So I want you to think, and you don't have to share it out loud if you don't want, but how could you have done better? Think to yourself. Is there something I was avoiding or trying too hard for during the process? Right? Have you ever gotten focused on, I know it happens to me all the time. So let's say you're like, I'm going to knock all these reels out and you get really focused on the reels. But because you get so focused on that one thing, you forget the big picture. Or the opposite, are you like, I absolutely hate them things. I'm going to avoid it like the plague. I'm not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So then you're not even doing all of the do to get to your goal. And again, these are just questions to try to get you thinking about the last. And if you're like, I've had a great July. Okay, good. How was your first 6 months of business? Because I can tell, I mean, aside from Lindsay on here, right? Let me look. Aside from Lindsay on here, I see everyone's numbers. And I know that there's not a lot of people on here who the first 6 months are exactly where they wanted their business to be. So think back to that. What have you been avoiding? What have you been hyper focused on that's maybe not working? What have you truly been thinking? Like what's really going on in your heart and your head when you're like saying these goals and then either going after them or avoiding them like the plague? And what can you learn from the fact that you weren't hitting it? Okay, the next question to ask yourself in the mirror, how do I pick myself up after this? I mean, I have seen people have a shitty month and disappear for 3. And I've seen people have a shitty month and hit the ground running, balls to the walls for an upcoming month. So how do you pick yourself up from a failure, from say a bad volume or a missed mark or whatever? One of the things that it says too that is best for this would be self-care. Too often we punish ourselves when defeat or facing a disappointment. The flip side of being hard on yourself, I thought this was profound. The flip side of being hard on yourself is that you believe you are capable of achieving the goal. Why else would you be so mad? And that goes back to me. Like I was saying, when I don't achieve a goal that I set, I get pretty shitty with myself. And I only feel that way because I know I coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? Like if you came to me right now and said, Tammy, we're doing a fundraiser and we need you to run a 5K tomorrow. If I did not do well with that 5K, I would not be mad at myself, right? Because I'm not ready for it. I wasn't training for it. It wasn't in my wheelhouse right then, right? But if I had been training and working really hard for that 5K and you asked me to go and then I don't do well, I'm going to be mad at myself, right? So acknowledge your feelings. If you are mad at yourself, it's because you know you can do it and you know that you didn't do it, right? Sheila says self-care and learning how to get out of my own mind in my own way. Yeah, but also just acknowledging your own mind and acknowledging your own way, right? Acknowledge what you went through and acknowledge where you know you didn't do what you were supposed to do or what. And when I say supposed to do, I'm not your boss, you are your boss. So you most likely had set a goal at the beginning of the month and you said, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and you did X and maybe Z, but you left out Y, right? So self-care, of the flip side of that, you need to take time to reflect, but also realize the sheer fact that you even feel about it is because you know deep down inside you can do it. Self-care is crucial for recovering after a period of failure because it helps to alleviate stress and negative emotions, allowing you to restore your mental and emotional balance. And I do think that's important. So the people I told you about that, like when the month is bad and they disappear for 3 months, they did not take time to acknowledge the feelings, work through it, get rid of those feelings and find balance again. They kicked off the new month feeling like shit and just disappeared, right? So I want you, if you're already looking at your end of the month and you're like, oh, I don't know, deal with it. Talk to yourself now. Work through those emotions now. Don't carry that crap over into August because it's not going to do you any good. This might sound heartless. I don't know, but this is a business. I know that we like to help people feel good. I know we like to help people's health. I know we love to give. We're all women. We're very caring. But at the end of the day, this is a business. And if you allow your emotions to control that, your business is going to be, it's already going to be all over the board because we have an economy in America, but you're going to dip lower and dip higher than you need to versus running a business and being focused on the production versus the outcome. Courtney says, when my tracker resets, there's not a damn thing I can do about it, but the previous month, other than acknowledge the actions I did or didn't take and can do better. Can't change last month's numbers, but I can change this month. Halla frickin' Luya. Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. The last thing on this self-care, it says, by taking care of yourself, you're also sending a message to yourself that you are worthy of the care and attention, which can increase your self-esteem and help you bounce back from failure. If there's one thing I know from these amazing ladies on my team, self-esteem is an issue. Not feeling worthy is an issue. And so if you start wrapping your worth around your business, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Right? This is a business. That is a business transaction. It is a separate thing. So take care of yourself, acknowledge your feelings, get rid of those negative emotions before you dive into a brand new month. All right, the third question for the mirror. What
can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but what you're saying right now was me up until about 2 months ago. I let my seasonal depression ruin me. I had 2 or 3 crap months in a row. I felt like I wasn't going to be able to do this. I couldn't do this. I wasn't doing it. And I let that beat me down forever and a day. And 2 months ago, I finally spent quite a bit of time evaluating myself and figuring out what was standing in my own way. And I put my head down and I dug in. And this month has been phenomenal for me. I have 3 brand new customers. I hadn't had a new customer in, I don't know, 5-6 months. I have 3 brand new customers. One of my customers is putting my name out there. I've had 13 chats about samples going out in the last 2 weeks. Sam has helped, Shante has helped, a couple other people have jumped in and helped me. I've created 12 new accounts with 12 sets of samples going out in the last week and a half. Am I where I want to be for the end of July? No. My goal is to get 2 more customers by the end of the month. But all these samples that I've been sending out and all these conversations and building new relationships and new friendships, all these women are in Texas. Hello, I'm in Ohio. Mm-hmm. But I know even if I don't get to where I want to be by the end of the month, all those seeds I'm planting are going to blow out of the water in August. And I am driven to keep this going. So yeah, I figured out how to get out of my own way. So if you're stuck in that negative mindset, oh my God, this conversation right here, take some time to evaluate where you are mentally. And it may not be just about this business. I was stuck in some ugly, dark places about some very personal things, but they were bleeding into every aspect of my life.
Yeah. Lindsay says, so imagine if you didn't stop where you'd be at. So best not stop, Sheila. Proof in the pudding, you're meant to work this business. Yes.
Hell no, I'm not stopping. Hell no.
And so she brings up a really good point because the next question is, what could I have done differently? Right. And so Sheila took a look at that. Like, what could I do differently? So asking what you can do differently promotes self-reflection and learning. It goes back to actually that first question of what can I learn from this? Like, what is the lesson that you've learned? But now what from that lesson, like if once you acknowledge what you've learned, now what can you do differently? right? Like I mean, as basic as it gets. The first time you ever washed a red t-shirt with your white laundry, that was a failure. What you learn from that is that red bleeds and stains. And so now what do you do differently? You don't mix that shit, right? So it's literally that basic, only it seems so much bigger because it's your business or it's your goals or it's these big things in life. Um, but if you reflect on your actions, you can identify areas where you could have done better. You can gain insight on how to improve your future. And most importantly, avoid making that same mistake twice. So I know there's a lot of people on here who you do disappear in business. You get stressed out, you get emotional because you feel not worthy, or you feel like you let yourself down, or you feel like you've let other people down, which by the way, this is your business. You're not worried about other people. Um, but what, learn from that. Like when you take, I'm all for taking a little time off every now and then, right? Like with like corporate America doesn't even expect you to work 7 days a week, right? You at least get maybe a Sunday off. So it's okay to have some downtime. What in my opinion, when you own your own business is not okay is to shut the door for a week, a month, a year, unless when you reopen, you are restarting, right? This is not, you are not McDonald's. You cannot close for a week to remodel and all the people will come back, right? You are not that well established in business. So you have to realize if you've been quitting on yourself, which means quitting on your business, which means quitting on your customers, which means quitting on your team, what can you do differently? Well, I mean, that's an obvious one. It's like not putting the red stuff with the white stuff in the laundry, right? It's to stop quitting. This question will also help shift your focus from self-blame or negativity towards a more proactive and solution-oriented mindset. So like I was sharing last night on the power plan, I realized after a year of being so focused on growing my network, that I've grown this ridiculously stupid large network that I haven't done anything with now, right? So I have to acknowledge, like, I did that one part, but now I've got the other part to move on to. So I have to be proactive in how I'm going to solve this problem versus just being like, well, I got this problem and, screw it. I messed up or whatever. Like, I've got to figure out now what to do with those people. So this actually will turn your setback into a really good lesson. Here's one that I think we all need. This is a question. What are some skills that I need to improve? There's not a single person on here, myself included, that does not constantly need to improve some sort of skill set, whether it be business, personal, mindset, technical. I mean, I don't know how many times people will send me a message like, oh, how do you do this on CapCut? Or how did you do this on Canva? Google, that's how I did it. YouTube, that's how I did it. No one held my hand. I just figured it out, right? So what are some skills that you need to improve? Asking yourself this question after a failure will help you figure out the next step towards your goal. It may not be easy to swallow the fact that you need more training, time, or practice at something. And that right there that is so true. Like how many times you've been like, I'm hitting 4K, I'm hitting 4K, I'm hitting 4K, and you don't. Well, what skill do you still need? Right? Like, I mean, think of a doctor. They don't really let that doctor go in until they're ready. And even then, sometimes they screw up. And doctors are constantly going back and doing continuing education, right? So maybe you had a great month. Maybe you had a great last year. But that doesn't mean you're done. It doesn't mean you know it all. I mean, my gosh, when I think of how different network marketing is in 2024 than it was in 2015 when I started, TikTok didn't exist. I don't know if Snapchat existed. Instagram did, but it was just for the artsy folks that took pictures. Like it's a whole other world. It was super easy to get people to gather. Then we had 2020 hit. Like there's so many things that are always changing. So if you're not hitting your goals, what is something you need to get better at? A lot of you are terrified to go live and talk. Guess how you get better at that? You go live and you talk, right? You just have to. There is no HR department here. There is no one here to say, hey, we feel like at the end, your end of year review, you need to work on this, and here's the resources for that. You are HR. You have to identify where you're sucking, and you have to figure out how to fix it. You've got to be resourceful. And I'm telling you, GOOGLE will be the access point for any and all information that you need. And there's a gazillion YouTubes to also teach you things. If you're trying to, if what you're trying to attain is truly worth it to you, if it is tied to a great life purpose and a sense of meaning, I believe you have to keep going towards it, even if it requires extra time and learning, right? I mean, that's like a kid going to college. Do they really want to be there 4 years? Maybe, maybe not. But if it's truly something they want to do, they're going to put in the time to learn the trade that they want, right? To go into business. Okay, so this is my last, hang on. Are we running out of time? No, we're good. All right, couple more questions. What is good about this failure? Sometimes it's good that you fail, right? Sometimes it's awesome that things don't work out the way you want them to. It could be something as big as life, something in life not working out the way you wanted it to, or it could be something as small as that customer that said no. I mean, I know I've been in chats with people before, and I have seen people just claw onto this customer because they are so dead set that this is going to be their next thriver, and this person doesn't want it, or this person is crazy and I don't really want to be in the chat anymore, but they won't let go of it, right? So maybe it's a good thing sometimes that things don't go your way. Finding the silver lining in your failure will help keep you on the sunny side of life and in the moment. So again, you got to ask yourself, like, was there something good from this, right? And I'm big believer, life happens for you, not to you. And if you didn't reach your goal, that happened for a reason. Like I said, it could be a skill set needed. It could be because there's actually something bigger and better waiting for you at the end. But just think about that. What do I know now that I didn't know at the beginning of my journey, and how has it improved my life? Right. So what did you not know that you now know? I have a great example, and I'm going to leave names out. I have a promoter on this team who had a promoter under her that she tried so hard to help with. She tried so hard. That chick turned out to be crazier than a $2 bill. And best thing that ever happened now. And now we know that, right? We didn't know that in the beginning. Now we know that. And so that was a great failure, right? So it's not always horrible, but you got to like talk yourself through that. Sandra says, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt, absolutely. Make sure you aren't the one who's giving yourself consent. Yes, yes. That's a good, you should have that on your mirror. That's a good quote. Okay. Last two questions. In the grand scheme of things, is this failure a really big deal? Okay. This will help ground you and relieve some of that stress of the after the failure. You know, like sometimes when you fail, you feel like the world is crumbling, but the sun comes out the next day and everyone gets out of bed and we start over again, right? So was it, and this is for the people who disappear after a failure. The work, you actually make it worse by quitting and giving up on yourself versus saying, okay, you know what? My famous line, nobody died. Did we make 12K? Maybe not, but nobody died. You know, did we make 4K? Maybe not, but nobody died, right? So we have the chance to keep going for something in the end. I'm, you guys know I'm so goal oriented and so driven that it can become like that. Like you missing something can become like that. But I also feel like the more comfortable you get with failure, that just proves you're trying. That proves that you're working for it. I don't know if you guys have ever read Sarah Blakely's book. She is the inventor of Spanx. And one of the things that she did, or well, that her father did when she was a child, every night at dinner, instead of going around the table and saying what great thing happened to them that day, like a lot of people might do, he made them say, what did you fail at today? Because in his mind, if they couldn't come up with something that they failed at, then they weren't trying to be better at something. So did you fall off your bike? Did your flower die? Like what happened? Like that was her focus, was to always be trying. And if you're trying hard enough, you're going to fail at things. It's just like the whole adage is like going for the no in the sale. That just means if you're not asking enough people to get no's, you're never going to be asking enough people to get yeses, right? Sonia says, I stumble sometimes because I have people fall off. But like I told Lindsay a while back, I'm here until Jesus comes back. I love that. And you know, some of those people come back, right? And a lot of times people aren't going to share with us why they're falling off. Somebody could be in financial ruin. Something really bad could have happened. Like we never know. To us, it's the end of the world because it's a $160 order, or it's our referred to, or it's our PPA for whatever. But they have a life too. So yeah. Okay, last question. what am I going to do next? Asking yourself what am I going to do next after a failure is important because it helps you shift your focus from the past to the future. And this is where I want you to be. I want you focused on, okay, here's what happened in the first 7 months of the month. Good, bad, and ugly. What did I learn from it? What am I going to do differently? What do I need to learn to not have this happen again? Right? Where does it fall on the list of priorities in my life? And now, what am I going to do next? Right? We've got August through the end of the year. Charlotte says, I struggle with the falling off also, or the promise of I'm going to order today and that doesn't happen. I don't believe it until I see it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and again, ideally, this is old school sales funnel crap, but ideally you have so many names floating around that you're talking with or messaging with or sending promos to, or, you know, they're just up there that when one falls off, you don't even notice. It's when you aren't working with enough people that you're like, well, Sally didn't call me back. Sally didn't call me back. She didn't respond. She was going to order. She didn't respond. And you get stuck on that and you focus on Sally and what's not happening with Sally. Meanwhile, Fred, Bob, and Ted totally could have ordered. Case in point, Miss Courtney Summers had 2 people she was working with. They told her for, I think, a week. Friday is payday. Friday is payday. Friday is payday. Friday came and went. But randomly Friday night, she was with a different set of friends who were like, hey, what's that sticker? And those people ordered Sunday. So if she had spent all that effort and not like maybe she, you know, like if she was going to be pissy and upset and focused on the people that didn't order, when somebody asked, hey, what is that sticker? She might have like, my vitamins. Like, what if she just blew them off because the other 2 people put her in a bad mood and she was, no one's buying from me and blah, 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 blah. She would have missed out on the order on Sunday. Right. So what are you going to do next? I just make sure I'm not missing anything here in my notes. Sorry. Yeah. Ultimately by asking yourself that, it's going to be, you're going to be able to channel your energy and your focus into the next step and into the future versus worrying about the past. And that I think is the biggest thing that I could probably end this Zoom on is, January through July has been a lot of fun. But like Courtney said, when it switches to 0, there ain't shit you can do about it. Like you can literally only focus on August and what's going to happen. And I know I am super proud of the faces I see on here because you are the ones who have worked all summer. I know your numbers may not be where you want them to be. I know you may not be like rolling in the dough the way you want it to be, but you have worked all summer. And if you guys ever listen to Ed Milet, you will know that you have been in separation season. You have been active. There are a lot of faces in the month of August, probably near the end of August, that are going to hop back on. They're going to start wanting to be active again. And obviously, we're always going to take people who want to work their business, but they're going to be starting from 0, right? And you guys are going to be starting with all this momentum and all this activity that you have created all summer long. If you've been doing your bingo cards, if you've been doing your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, if you have just simply been showing up to your job and doing what you felt needed to be done, you've got people in your pipeline, you have conversations already going, you've got probably credits, you've probably got your refer to, right? You've got chats set up, you've got samples that have gone out. You're starting from such a great place. So while you may not be happy necessarily where your volume is, somebody who's taken the last couple months off, they're at a real live flat 0. Like at the end of the month, they're at a 0 versus us all starting that way on midnight, right? So I just hope this helps you. I want you to really think through your goals for August, because I get goals from a lot of people and some are well thought out and some are just sort of thrown out there. And I want you to, if you're just throwing out your goals, then you're not gonna chase them. That's like me saying, oh, I'm gonna go look at a Lamborghini today. I don't really want one. I don't want that payment. I don't even think they're that cool of a car. So am I gonna do anything to get that? No. But if somebody said that Land Rover that I love so much, yeah, I got that. I went for that. I got that, right? So think about it. What do you truly, really want with your business? What do you truly, where do you want to push yourself? And then break that down and make actual goals that you can track. Because again, at the end of August, you're going to want to go through these questions again. What did you learn from August? What could you do differently moving forward? What skills do you need to brush up on? I mean, none of us know. Some August there could be some brand new app that comes out, and we might all have to learn some new. You guys remember when TikTok came out and people were like, I got to sing to a video? We all thought that was crazy, and now look at us. I'm not singing to videos, but you know, we're all making TikToks. So just keep that in mind that August is coming, and I want you to be ready for it. I want you to be excited for it. And I do want to just plug one more. Oh, wait, Charlotte. No, yes, Charlotte. Oh, Sonia says, yes, Charlotte. I have had people say I'm already to order and then crickets. I'm happy to say I finally am getting 2 samplers. Yay, Sonia. And I want you guys to all know everyone has dry spells. Like, don't think that because I lead a Zoom that I have 18 samples out today, or that because I sent a birthday message, 12 people just ordered. Like, we're all in business. This is all ebbing and flowing, but we can support each other through all of that. So my last plug is that tomorrow night on our team rally at 7:30, is it 7:30? Is it 8 o'clock? No, that's when I meet with Lisa. 8 o'clock Eastern is our team rally. Sonia is going to be on there talking, and I'll be on there also. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff with ChatGPT, which you're going to want. That's really all I'll say about that. So we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.